Hey friends, in today's video, I'll be continuing giving my first impressions of some of the Crota's end weapons. Today's will be the Oversoul Edict. This roll features Swashbuckler, and if you combine it with a Radiant Throwing Knife, you get a time to kill of 0.47. That is, you saw it in the intro clip. Lightning fast. Similarly, in the past, I have used the Abyss Defiant auto rifle. I liked it so much, I went for an Adept version. This one pumps out a 0.5 time to kill under the same circumstances. These guns are very, very similar for what they do, but I do think Oversoul Edict prefers controller. I have tried it on both input devices, and I can say I wholeheartedly like Oversoul Edict more than hand cannons on controller for the exact same engagement range. In fact, let me add a hand cannon over here to the D2 Foundry. What would we do? Probably Luna's Howl. That's what most controller players are going to use. So let's just pump out the range with some realistic setups here. Or let's go slide shot, right? 35.2. Let's compare that to Oversoul Edict with a reasonable amount of range. It's somehow less than the hand cannon, but as you can see, the drop-off isn't as steep as a hand cannon, so you can be out of the engagement distance and still probably beat them on TTK when they have to put a fourth or a fifth bullet into you, and you only need a single burst more. This is a rapid fire. So in my opinion, I like this better than hand cannons for the mid-range on controller, even more so than Abyss Defiant, which has a similar decline to the pulse rifles, but I will say it's not as sticky at these distances. For real, I think this pulse rifle is borderline a magnet and aims for you, this archetype. Obviously, it doesn't have the base 0.67 time to kill that, let's say, No Time to Explain or Elsie's rifle has, the high impact frames. A 0.8 is trading with the hand cannon, which isn't good, but the trade-off is, and I'm going to repeat myself, this thing feels like it aims itself. And so if you can start playing around with damage boosters into kill feeds, this turns into one of, in my opinion, the most potent sixes weapons in the game for controller. 0.67 is solid, and you don't even have to aim compared to No Time to Explain. You add Radiant on it, and I already told you. 0.47. That is wild. Another way you can try to get this is using Bacchus with Kill Clip. I would prefer Horror's Least if I could choose over Oversoul Edict, but getting a Horror's Least to drop feels like an impossible task, so I kind of gave up on this and wanted to at least give this a try now that I own the pattern. And I can say with that Swashbuckler setup, it's a very, very potent sixes loadout. One of the best I've ever used. Does that mean I prefer it over Abyss Defiant, which is one of my top 3 weapons in the entire game, legendary-wise? Maybe not on mouse and keyboard, but apples to oranges, controller versus MNK. For the exact same engagement distance, if I'm playing controller, it's Oversoul. If I'm playing MNK, it's Abyss Defiant. Same exact loadout, nothing else changes. It's wild. Another pulse rifle in this family is the Scalar Potential. Cool Guy did a fantastic video on this if you want a true review. Again, these are just first impressions, so pardon me if I leave anything out. But to cover the most important part, Focus Fury plus the Dragon Vengeance origin trait means you can keep running around with the boosted 0.67 without needing a kill. So between these 3 pulse rifles, you should find a playstyle that you like as you become more adept at controller and better aiming, and you can eventually wean yourself off of this archetype and just never miss hitting the 0.67 on No Time to Explain or Elsie's rifle. That's the ceiling. However, the floor on this weapon is so easy to access that I think in some ways it can sort of overtake it because I don't have to use any mental tax to aim. I could be staring at my radar the entire time, and I know for sure that I'm hitting my time to kill because it just is significantly easier. I really have to stress this. You go back, look at my other reviews, I give very, very fair first impressions to the point where my comment section hits me with the, oh, the weapon's way better than you're giving it credit for. You're a hater. So what's the opposite of a hater? Because that's what I am with Oversoul Edict. It's very, very, very potent. I like it more than Luna's Howl, and this is one of the most famous guns in the entire game for that same engagement distance. It is wild. So I really, really think if you don't have Oversoul Edict, try Horror's Least or Scalar Potential Tell me how easy it feels to use the gun, and if that should be motivation, then you should grind for Oversoul Edict. Go for the swashbuckler setup, and then use Athros's Embrace or some other similar throwing knife build and proc it and get Radiant at the same time. I'm just going to say it again. Most potent 6's build for controller. Observe.
You would find the scout rifle I